So Mancera's Instant Crush, that's been a fragrance that I've been wanting to try or at least sort of experience that kind of scent profile for the last couple of years now. And although I don't still have that particular fragrance, I don't have the original bottle or a sample of that fragrance. What I do have today is a clone of that fragrance from Lattafa, and this is going to be Lattafa's Afkaar. So if you're curious to know what my thoughts are on this fragrance so far, then definitely stick around for the rest of the video. So welcome back to the channel. It's Jamar from Vegas Scents, and if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. Also, anyone watching, leave a like and a comment. All right. So Afkaar, again, this is from Lattafa, and this is their take on Mancera's Instant Crush. So Instant Crush, like I said, that's been a fragrance that I've been wanting to sort of try out, at least for the past several years, I would say. There's been a couple of times where I've sort of looked to maybe purchase a bottle of that fragrance, but during those times, I feel like that fragrance was still a bit too much that, at least that I wanted to pay for it. I believe all of the other times that I looked for that fragrance, it was like at least about $160 or so. I do see that, Instant Crush has come down now, especially on sites like Perfume Online. I believe you can get that for like around $78 or so for a 4.2 ounce bottle. But either way, this is going to be my introduction into the scent profile. And what I can say is, regardless of how close this fragrance actually comes to the original, this is still a very, very nice fragrance. And I would say that I do sort of prefer this over the sort of Baccarat Rouge, scent profile, at least that I've smelled from, Baccarat Rouge 540 itself, or other sort of fragrances that are kind of in that same vein. So, I'm talking about fragrances like Bond Number 9, Greenwich Village. I'm talking about, Al Haramain's Amber Oud Rouge. I'm talking about Spink's fragrances, Black Anubis. I do prefer this over those fragrances. And also, I would say probably Baccarat Rouge 540, itself. So this fragrance, the reason that I actually enjoy this fragrance so much is it has that sort of, light aromatic, sort of wispy, sweet saffron, and jasmine mixture that, the original Baccarat Rouge 540 has. But the difference with this fragrance is it has like this really nice spicy ginger, and also it has a sort of fruity undertone from mandarin orange as well. This fragrance, man, I really, really enjoy. It's also not one that I necessarily go nose blind to either. So I do enjoy that about this fragrance as well. Now, only time will tell, whether or not I become nose blind to something like the original Instant Crush. But at least for the time being, this fragrance here, Afkaar from Lattafa, this is not a fragrance that I go nose blind to. And it does project very well, I would say, for at least like the first 3 hours, 3 or more hours, I would say. I wore this a couple of times now, and each time that I've worn it, it definitely, it doesn't necessarily give me sort of like that, hey, I'm here, hey, I'm not here anymore sort of feel that you get from something like Baccarat Rouge 540. This is something that I feel like you always sense is there. And it is something that, at least for me anyway, I feel like you kind of have to make sure that you don't spray too much of this on, because I feel like this is something that could become slightly cloying if you were to spray too much of this on. All right. Also, in my opinion, this is not necessarily going to be something that you would wear all year round. At least I wouldn't anyway. But at the same time, I don't necessarily think that Baccarat Rouge 540 is necessarily an all year round fragrance either. This, in my opinion, is pretty much like a fall, winter, and early spring sort of fragrance. I would not wear this at all in the summertime. I just think it would be too much. a little bit too sweet, too cloying for that particular time of the year. Even if you sort of minimized your sprays with this, I do still think that it would just probably be a bit too cloying. All right. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, if I'm comparing this to, a fragrance like Baccarat Rouge 540, or even something like Greenwich Village, I do think that this is the sort of best version, at least for me, of that sort of, kind of Baccarat Rouge 540 scent profile. Which, I mean, to my understanding, Mancera's Instant Crush pretty much is like a inspired fragrance of Baccarat Rouge 540. So that's the reason why I'm still kind of, throwing in Baccarat Rouge 540 in comparison to this fragrance. But yeah, man, again, the performance on this so far anyway is very good. I'm getting over 8 hours on skin with this, with, again, really good projection, at least for like the first 3 hours. And, again, I'll have to get a sample of the original to kind of go over exactly how close this comes to the original. But I would say, again, if you're someone who has not smelled the original Instant Crush, but you're familiar with the way that, Baccarat Rouge 540 smells, and you actually do like the way that sort of scent profile smells, then I do think that this is going to be a blind buy worthy type of scent. Like I said, this fragrance to me, it is a little bit more interesting than those fragrances are. Even though this is still, in my opinion, pretty linear, just like, the other fragrances like the Greenwich, Village and Baccarat Rouge 540. Even though this one is, pretty, linear as well, it's just something about that extra sort of fruitiness and extra sort of spicy kick that you get from the ginger in this fragrance, that you don't get, from those other fragrances. All right. So definitely check this one out, man. I believe I picked this one up from the Oud store, and I believe this is only like $35 or something like that at the Oud store. I do also believe, at least here in the United States, I think that the Oud store is the only store right now that's really selling this fragrance here, Afkaar. All right, so again, check this one out, man. Again, this is Lattafa's Afkaar, and let me know in the comments, have you all smelled this fragrance? If so, have you all also smelled Mancera's Instant Crush? And how close do you think that this actually comes to Instant Crush? All right. Also, whether or not you smell Instant Crush or not, if you have smelled this one, do you like this fragrance? Do you hate it? Is it just okay? Let me know. All right. So again, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And also anyone watching, leave a like and a comment. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.